Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Three Strangers podcast. I'm your host,
I'm Nick.
Ryan.
I'm Nick.
Nah, I'm Bell.
And we like to cut each other's sentences off. Sandwiches. We like to cut each other's sandwiches off. Well, we are also joined by our audio engineer, Skippy Midnight. You know, he does great work. He just posted a new video on the YouTubes, so you should check that out. Big shout out to Sam, who produced our intro theme, and big shout out to Nick, who composed it.
No
And lastly, a big shout out to Tina, who is doing all of our promoting on TikTok and stuff. Except Nick does the promoting on Twitter. So, check out the Twitter.
Oh!
Love Twitter. Love tweet.
Link to that is in the description.
Yes.
All right, boys. We have another guest this episode of the podcast.
What? This is impossible, Ryan. How do you keep finding guests?
I know.
How do you have friends? No.
Yeah, Ryan.
We're just people you know.
Ryan,
just friends off the street.
Nick and I are strictly in this for the money. Just see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
proceed.
Well, I'm glad I know now, and not later in the future.
Oops.
Well, our guest this episode, he is a FIFA streamer. He streams some Pokemon legally. He is on Twitch. He is on YouTube. He just did a review, especially for me, on Gheorghe Aji, my favorite soccer player of all time with Ibra. It is Hurley Games.
Hey,
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. I hope that was a good enough introduction for you.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I don't know if it was good as Pat's, but I'll take it.
Those are some.
I know I'm not as cool as Pat, but I'm trying to get
don't
there.
say that. Don't say that.
I'm trying to get there.
You've got some clout as Pat. You just don't have a rooster like Pat.
True. I
That's
need
true.
something.
Yeah,
I need
that's-
something cool sitting on the back of my chair.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, you have your dogs.
I don't know if they want to sit on the back of my chair though.
Train them.
Speaking of my dogs, I do have dogs, so if they do start barking, I apologize for that.
No problem.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. It's really funny when we're watching Pokemon and then just in the background we just hear two dogs just start barking out of nowhere.
That's not Pikachu.
Yeah.
I try and mute my mic instantly because you never know when they're going to stop.
Well, Hurley, we're glad to have you on the podcast. Let the audience know a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, just turned 25 end of February. Currently live in North Dakota. Moving in a couple months, though, down to Phoenix.
Whoa.
It's a different climate. Wow.
Yeah, big move. My wife almost married 2 years in May.
Oh.
Yep, got 2 dogs, got a little dash hound and just rescued a Australian Shepherd. My wife is also from Australia. So
Whoa. Whoa.
I've actually,
I thought you were gonna say she's also a rescue.
yes, but no. Okay.
We have fun here at Three Strangers Podcast.
Yeah.
We actually met in undergrad. I played basketball, and she played volleyball. So we both met at a private undergrad in South Dakota. And after we graduated from undergrad, we actually moved back to Australia for a full year. Saved up a bunch of money, and then moved back here so she could go to grad school. We got married, and grad school up here in North Dakota. That's why we are here, unfortunately, in the very close to Canada. Not very warm, so.
So
That's
you're
a
definitely
little-
freezing up there.
in 2 months it'll be completely opposite. So
Damn. Nice. Wow, what a change. Well, congrats on all of that. That's been an exciting life. We've just been chilling.
Yeah. What? I'm about to say. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. We have been chilling. Yeah, I guess.
That's the best way to word it.
it's been a pretty crazy few years. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's been busy.
For sure. And when quarantine kind of hit, I mean, always kind of like been playing games, found a few friends, including Rye, through FIFA and whatnot, through Pat, your favorite Texan who was on your previous episode. Shout out to Pat. You know, then I don't know, Pat kind of like got me into streaming and YouTube, so he kind of like mentored me. So I've been doing that been streaming for about 9-10 months now, and did YouTube started like last August. So having a lot of fun doing that. Really kind of brought me out of my shell. So more of a shy person.
Beginning your journey then.
Beginning of the journey, exactly.
Hey, the journey starts today.
Hey.
Love it.
Well, I have to ask, we do make fun of this in the chat sometimes. Is a possible baby on the way?
Not
What
just yet.
Ryan, oh my god, forward much.
we would like to wait until she is finished with school before that happens.
That's fair.
Responsible.
So
Yeah.
So we're going to Phoenix for her last year. So she's got 2 12-week placements that she's gonna have to do. So kind of like internships or boards for like nursing. She's in doctorate of OT, so she's got to do a couple 12-week placements, and then she has to do her doctorate for her last semester, and then she'll be done. But we plan to stay down there for the time being, at least.
Nice.
So maybe a baby in a year or two after she graduates.
Oh!
So 2, 3, maybe 4 years. We'll see, right? We'll see.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I know we were talking about streaming before, and I know something huge just happened on your Twitch stream. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, I suppose so. Okay. Let's see. When was that? Last Tuesday. Yes, last Tuesday. So the Tuesday, was that the second or third maybe of March?
Second?
I think it was the second. I think it's second. Yeah, second of March. Just having the usual stream. I think I usually stream Tuesday, Thursday, and like Saturday nights. Nothing crazy. Just when I can. So Tuesday night, first stream after I just turned 25. Just watched a couple episodes of Pokemon. And then we usually turn on FIFA afterwards. We're just grinding some upgrade packs, whatnot, because there's an icon player pick out. Wanted to complete that. Got a bunch of fodder. About 10-15 minutes after we had turned FIFA on, probably one of the top 5, if he's not top 5, at least top 10 biggest FIFA YouTuber, Twitch streamer rated me with 4,500 viewers. It was crazy. Like he was like literally one of the first few dudes that I started watching when I like started playing not playing YouTube, playing FIFA. He's just such a funny guy, and he's just amazing content to watch. So it's just unreal that he would find me and raid me with his viewers. And the crazy thing is, like, I think after like a minute, my stream crashed because like all the alerts, like a bunch of followers were coming in. So like my stream crashed, and I'm freaking out. Like I can like barely breathe and whatnot. So like I get my stream back up, and so we get the stream back up, and Pieface is actually still in my chat, and he hangs out for like half an hour to an hour. And
damn,
it was insane.
That was a cool video. That was a really cool video to watch.
I still can't believe it, to be honest. And I think it was Wednesday night. One of my mods was watching his stream on Wednesday night, and he got like a clip, and Pieface was like, "Yeah, that dude was really cool. Very very fun stream." And like he clipped it and like sent it to me, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy."
Wow, that's really cool.
Like this top 5 dude who has 300,000 some on YouTube, 400 some thousand followers on Twitch is like,
damn,
thinks that my content is cool. It's pretty humbling and amazing, to be honest.
That's awesome. Yeah, you definitely give off this humble presence. It's cool. It's cool to see. You deserve it, man.
And Rye is a mod in the chat as well, so
You already know.
he's one of the day ones.
It's really funny because when he got raided, Hurley was like, I need to get up, like, get a drink of water. And then like before that, you were like, Ryan, join Discord. And I just jumped.
I was like, oh my
so
god.
quickly.
Like my heart was just beating so crazy. Like I just couldn't believe it.
And as soon as Hurley got up, I was like, well, guys, while you're here, this is FIFA content, but if you like any horror movie content, I got a YouTube channel.
As soon as I stepped away, he started plugging the YouTube, YouTube channel. I come back, and there's like 500 people still like just hanging out in the chat, which was insane. Like they didn't have to do that, but.
And they're like, writing while I was saying that.
They're like, this dude is plugging. He's like,
I think he even got plugging his own shit.
He got like he got 3 or 4 subs out of it.
Yeah, I got 3 or 4 subs out of it.
Whoa, powerful!
Wow.
Oh, it was really funny because I saw that I gained like 2 or 3. And then I had you do the tablespoon of hot sauce with the channel points, and you got to do that. I was like, yeah, guys, so because I got him to do the hot sauce, you should subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I saw one more after that. I was like, I got one of them.
That was by far the best stream I've ever had. It's ever since that, like, I've had like a bunch of the dudes that came through on the raid have been returning to the stream and like hanging out. It's been awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, a bunch of really cool dudes have been, hanging out in the stream.
It's been amazing. The growth since that has just been unreal.
Definitely, and it's gonna keep on growing. I believe it. And one thing that could help it to keep growing?
What's that?
To watch horror movies on your stream.
Whoa!
Oh,
we might have to. I don't mind a horror movie. I don't mind horror movies. Yes. I wouldn't say they're my favorite. I'm more of probably like an action first, maybe action comedy, and then maybe horror. But I haven't before this Dark and Wicked. I don't remember the last time I even saw one. So it's actually a good one to get me back in.
So that brings us to Harley. We're curious. What did you think of it? Vaguely, generally.
To be honest, like as soon as I finished the movie, I texted Ryan and I said, I can't wait to discuss it. I thought it was really good.
All right. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Bill, why don't you tell us a little bit of what this movie is about? And of course, we're going to go full spoiler, so don't worry about it. We're going to spoil everything. But Bill, right now, just little overview of what this movie's about: The Dark and the Wicked.
Little overview about what this movie's about. Geez, I think it's almost like hard to talk about this movie in terms of like there is a plot, there is like a coherent linear plot, but I think while that might make you think that it's a tropic movie, I don't think it is at all. I think that it is probably one of, and like I don't say this lightly, probably one of the darkest and psychologically unsettling. I know for me, I really liked it. I'm surprised I haven't heard of it before, but yeah, do you want me to give you like a small plot summary? I don't know what you.
I mean, if you want, I can. I wrote a little bit for my review, so like I have a little small blurb of what it's about.
I think you're better at plot summaries than I am. Yeah, I'll get hung up on the what the deeper meaning stuff. I don't want to.
Yeah. So just putting it as basic as I possibly can, this movie is about an unknown entity haunting a family on a farm. That as basic as you could get.
Mm-hmm. While they haunting a family on a farm, while the adult brother and sister are attending to their sick father.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the father is bedridden due to unknown reasons that are explained. He's just sick. Right?
Yeah, we never find out an exact reason. But we know that he's unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes.
The entire time. Okay. I'm trying to think about because I know that there was the whole thing where the maid was like, oh, he was talking to, but yeah, I guess that would make it even more sinister if he wasn't even awake at all. But I mean, husband and wife, I guess it can be like, hard to let go of that daily conversation. Interesting.
So Nick, what'd you think about it?
I think it had been a while since I watched a movie that was so successfully slow burn.
Yes.
And it succeeded. It really, like, I feel like that's a I think it's a type words. The aspect of like trying to do a slow burn movies, I feel like it's not something we see much anymore. Because it's either it winds up being really boring or unsettling. There really is no gray area, and in most of the time they become boring when they try to be slow burn. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was creepy, and I'm excited to. It took some extra steps, which I thought were extra steps to scare and be creepy, which I thought were pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
I have a question. This is probably more of a question for Hurley and Nick. Don't scratch your name there, Nick. That's weird. What's it? I guess hi, Bubby. Now Ryan and I we've grown up around farms and the idea of a farmhouse and things. Do you guys have any sort of attached I not do farms scare you, but does the idea of being stranded on an area like that scare you? Do you think it's objectively scary?
So when I was young, my grandparents lived on a farm and my dad actually moved out. We built a house out on the farm and my dad tried out farming for a little while. So it was when I was really, really young, and then when I started kindergarten, we ended up moving into town. So I did have a little bit of experience living out in the farm. And then when we moved, it's pretty rural. So I would always go to sleepovers at friends' house who lived on farms. So the setting of this movie is amazing. They do a really good job. I think the setting is fantastic. Of this the creepy old farm setting, house, barn, just when you're spending a night out in the middle of nowhere, no, they don't lock their house, you're not living in the city,
yeah,
they leave everything unlocked, cars, house, anything.
Oh boy,
did we lose Hurley?
We might have lost Hurley for
a
little bit.
Oh, he's back. Oh, you're back.
Oh,
You're back.
He's back.
Back. We lost you for a few seconds. It's okay. We heard from where you were saying living on the barn and everything's unlocked and stuff like that to living in a city where you lock absolutely everything.
Yes,
it's freaky.
It is.
And I do want to say, Nick, before you jump in and say your thoughts.
I jump in.
This was directed by Brian Bertino, who directed The Strangers.
That makes so much sense. Okay, yeah, yeah. His fingerprints are over this. Yeah.
Hurley, have you ever heard of The Strangers, the movie?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Well, we are the three strangers.
I know the
kind of
Three
amazing.
Strangers. I know the Three Strangers podcast. I'm not familiar with the Strangers movie though.
Yeah, it's where we got our name. Really good home invasion movie. Some might say the best, some might not. I would not, but it's a good one.
Might have to add it to the watch list.
I think you'd enjoy it, being out where you are. A very similar vibe, and you could tell where he gets his cues and stuff like that. But I'm going to say it now. I think that this movie is better than The Strangers.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. The Strangers are too, despite it's like unique creepiness, it's the cliche stuff in it is a little, it's the tropes that are just over and over that are used over. I won't say cliche, but there are some tropes in The Strangers that just were kind of bland. Anyway, we're talking about the Dark and the Wicked. I would agree that it's better than The Strangers. I love the setting. I lived in the suburbs pretty much my whole life, and I wasn't really near woods or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. And
yeah, sorry, I thought you were gonna be like, I know what a farm is.
I know what a farm
guess
is.
Long Island does have farms. Like,
I've seen a farm before.
Yeah. Well, when I tell people I'm from Long Island, they go, "Oh, from the city?" And I say no, and they go, "Oh, so you're on a farm?" And I go, "No." So anyway, but that's where I used to live. Anyway, but you know what? My uncle, I'm used to rural though. A couple of my uncles, both of them were named Brian, and coincidentally, they both lived in rural places. My one uncle lived in New Jersey on a farm, and we stayed there a couple times. And then my other uncle built his house on a couple 100 acres on a mountain that he owned. And this is not me for trying to flex any clout. He bought the land when it was really cheap.
Weird flex, okay.
Familial flex. Okay.
Yeah. It was on a mountain, and then he built his house on the mountain when it was, years and years and years ago when it was cheap. Whatever. Anyway, so I'm kind of used to like the rural setting. I don't like woods, but this didn't have woods, so yeah, it was good. I liked the setting. I didn't find it particularly scary because of the setting, though.
Right, well, I think now would be a good time to take a little bit of a break before we start talking about the plot, some of its themes, and some of its characters. So let's take a little break.
All right.
And we are back. All right. So The Dark and the Wicked. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of plot. Let's just start talking about it. So I do want to say before going into straight plot, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 92%. But
I love Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't love Audience Tomato.
Audience Tomatoes. Yep, that's what it is.
But for audience score, it got a 63%.
Whoa. So this is the critical success. Okay, interesting.
And while reading some reviews, the first one is a 1-star review, and they were saying, "Have you seen The Witch, Hereditary, and The Lodge?"
Oh,
yep.
Get A24 out of here.
Okay,
I don't like that.
Well, now let's focus on this for a second here. I definitely got The Witch vibes. However, you guys know I don't like The Witch. I really liked this movie. The Witch tried to... I feel like this movie kind of corrects a little bit what The Witch is trying to do, even down to the symbolism of the goat and the devil. I mean, yeah, I can... If you want to argue that that's not an original concept, yeah, sure. We can dock points from The Dark and the Wicked because that's not... It's not original. But I think it's much more well done.
A lot scarier.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so they said it's basically those movies. And if you're into... I need to find it, where he said the musical score was the one unique thing about this film.
There was no music. It was all sound effects.
was about to say, I don't remember there being much of a score at all. Oh, forget that, dude. You don't even let it.
Yeah, so I thought I should mention that, and it was very funny because then he started saying some suggestions, and they were all different types of movies. So not like at all similar to this. But all right, The Dark and the Wicked. So the plot overview for this is very, very small. It does not go into any detail at all. It's about 2 paragraphs. So no, it is spoilers, but it's just it literally skips so much of it.
Oh, good.
Like it literally skips the entire beginning sequence before we get the title. So let's talk about that first.
Sure.
We see a farm. It's night. We're going around. It's kind of creepy. We see the goats. We see a mom tending to these goats. We don't know anything about her yet, and we see who we presume is her husband in bed, and we know he's unconscious. That he's sick. We could see like the breathing tube.
Right.
And during all that time, we can tell that something's bothering her. She hears a sound. She automatically like jolts and like looks. We see that when she's with like the dresses and stuff like that. When she's sewing, she hears a sound. She automatically jolts and looks. She hears a wolf howl, automatically jolts and looks. And we end basically on the chair moving behind her as she's cutting onions, and she turns around and the chair's moved right in front of her. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, really good old fashioned. Oh, geez, I'm trying to struggle. I think the movie's Poltergeist. Remember the chair that moves in the kitchen?
Yes.
And you put it in place, and it always moves the exact same way. Yeah, that's Poltergeist. Big vibes. What I'm getting from here. A lot more sinister than Poltergeist, though. That could just be like timing,
Sinister as an adjective or sinister as a movie?
Sinister as an adjective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not Sinister the movie. Although, we'll get into that. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that chair is a good example, and there was a couple other moments where I think there's a lot of things that this movie did that like you see in other movies, but then they change it. If you think it's gonna be cliche, and then nothing that they do is. Or you think it's going to be cliche, and then they take a step further in a direction that's not what you'd expect. Very subtle curve kind of thing. Like the chair, a lot of times when you see like the chair moving or the furniture stuff in the background, I feel like there's always like a very big sound effect, and then the volume gets louder and louder without you trying to do anything, and then nothing happens. And a lot of this movie wasn't. There were a couple moments where there's a single sound effect or a single chord when something's in the background. But other than that, it really just lets you. It lets you discover it. Yeah. It doesn't so much force it in front of your face. And I thought that was really effective with the whole slow burn of it.
What did you think, Hurley?
I think the opening scene was fantastic. Like it just like sets like a very creepy tone just to start it off. I thought it was fantastic opening scene.
Yeah, barely any sound. So when we would hear like the wolf howl, we were like, "Ooh!" And
like I was on the edge of my seat just from the start. I was like, "What's gonna come?" I was intrigued from the opening scene.
So no one has mentioned this, which means to me that you guys probably didn't see it.
Uh-oh.
So do you remember when the goats started freaking out in the shed in the beginning?
I know they were all like standing still, which I thought was very weird. Like they were all like standing still. I thought that was very weird, but I don't know. I didn't.
If you look, you could see a demon. Like you see the eyes, and it's masked within them.
Whoa! You saw this on first watch, Ryan?
I didn't pick this up right away. Watch. I did not see it on first watch. So don't worry, I don't blame you guys for not seeing it. I actually
Not to be
saw
very
it going on Twitter. Someone was talking about it and had that screenshot, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't see this in the movie." And I started to more. I did the free trial for Shudder, and I was like, I remember like this picture, like I remember seeing this, and luckily it was in the beginning, so I didn't have to go far. And I saw, I was like, "Oh my god, I missed this!" Like, there's literally, you see, and it's big. Like, if like my screen is like as big as the picture was, it's probably about this big in the screen. It's just blended in. So they show our demon early.
Wow, and it's subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, really, really successful in like asking you to watch it again.
Mm-hmm. It does a lot of that. It felt like every other second there was something hidden in the background that the rest of the movie you were kind of like looking everywhere, like, oh my god, is something else back there? Like,
yeah. I'm glad I didn't see that in the first, because then I would have been like, oh, where is it? Where is it? Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so let's continue on. So now Louise and Michael, brother and sister, they're distant siblings who are brought back to the family farm in Texas when their father's illness, which keeps him bedridden and uncommunicative, cared for by his wife and a nurse, worsens. Their mother seems disturbed and expresses a desire for the children to leave. Right off the bat, we could see that the kids are estranged from the mother and even from each other, that they haven't kept in touch and don't really talk anymore.
Odd family reunion, to be sure. I like the dynamic, though. I like the dynamic, you know, they're kind of... They play around with the awkwardness instead of being like nothing is worse than when you are told stuff, you're not shown it, but instead we are shown it and then we can infer. That's good. That's good. That's good cinematography, and that's good storyboarding. Really.
Yeah, and great acting.
Good acting.
Yeah.
There it is.
So Hurley, what did you see during this part with the kids, the mother? Was there something that stood out, a scene?
The thing that like really like stood out to me, which I didn't really like understand, is like at the start, like it starts at like Monday. Like it went from like Monday to Wednesday like really quick. I don't know if I particularly liked how fast it went there. I feel like it progressed really quickly there. And then the last few days, obviously, we'll get into that later, but the last few days was a bit better. But I'd say the start, like you guys said, like I think the awkwardness just like plays into it. Like they could the actors play off each other better that way, rather than as more than they would have if they were like more like homey family. I'd say. I feel like it would play a whole different plot if I don't know if it would be as good of a movie that way.
Yeah.
And I think that being estranged is kind of what makes the plot of this movie, which we'll talk about as we go further on, what this demon wants and stuff like that. But Nick, what did you think about the first little bit of this movie, finding out everyone, all that?
Yeah, Harley, I think I agree with you. It accelerates to a point where it's pretty shocking quickly. But I feel like, it's very much Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it takes its time with each day. And so I guess in that sense, like the pacing seems a little off.
Yeah.
But I think it's Monday night that with the cutting, right?
Yeah.
And this was crazy. And I think this was like, this is one of those examples of okay, so she's cutting a carrot with a knife. If somebody's cutting something in a horror movie, that knife is going to be used.
Yeah,
I knew exactly what was happening. I knew exactly what was happening.
You're like, okay, she's gonna cut herself. Oh no, she's gonna bleed, and then no, she just cuts her fingers purposely and keeps doing it, and then keeps doing it, and then keeps doing it. Like it's a slow grind because you didn't think it was gonna crunch, and then it crunches again and again and again, that's when I realized, like, okay, this movie is doing something that you don't see much, where it just takes that extra couple steps, and it doesn't. Yeah,
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, it's like 200%, and yes, I don't know where my mind went, but yeah, that's Hurley. You took the words out of my mouth.
I'm sorry.
So.
I just wanted to say I 100% agree, because like when you like see like in horror movies like that, like they've like cut their fingers, but they don't continue doing it.
Yeah.
Like that's like that just like kind of like I was like, whoa. Like she like chopped her fingers like 5-6 times after she already like cut them off. I was like, oh my god, like
yeah,
makes it very deliberate and like it's very good because like it's like I'm you're so used to in horror, like, you know, like something like a bone snaps or something, and it's like very quick, and like it's like you know, like that was terrible, like walk away, and it's like you don't get to walk away. Very very big strong point of this movie throughout, in my opinion. What about you, Ryan? What do you think?
And before we continue on with that, I do want to say that the mom, the whole entire time with the kids, was like, "You guys need to leave. You need to get out. You should have never came here." Like, and we could see if there's a family dinner scene. They're absolutely quiet, eating dinner. The son goes, "Oh, the dinner tastes great." She doesn't answer him. Then Louise starts talking, and then she absolutely freaks out and is like, "You guys have to leave. You should have never came." And we're like, "Okay, mom, let's calm down a little bit."
Yeah.
And then in the next scene, she's cutting off her fingers. Like,
yeah.
And the worst part about it is the initial chop, she does it, and we go to her face, and she just kind of goes like that. No other reaction other than that.
Yeah, it's kind of I gotta press harder.
Yeah,
and not I just chopped off my finger.
And it just keeps on doing it, and like you could see, like as she gets more intense on her face, and like from there, then it's just Tuesday, and we're like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
And from Tuesday, we see, well, we don't see her during the night, like it says in the plot overview, but she hangs herself in the barn. And
I found that a bit weird.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Ellie.
Because once they run out of the house, obviously they're gonna find her eventually. So they do get to the barn. So she's like in the middle of the barn, nothing around her. She's an old, fragile, probably like upper 80s. I don't. But she,
probably like, close to elderly. She's elderly.
She's like, just like, she wouldn't have much energy. And like she's in the middle of the barn, and she's pretty high off the ground. Like, how did she get there? And not too long after, like I had that question, like right when I saw it. Not too long after, like the kids themselves, like kind of questioned it. So I thought that was really really odd.
Yeah. How does she manage to do it? Yeah, really. She just chopped off her fingers. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I think I'll chalk this one up to suspension of disbelief. Just this once, though. What about you, Nick? What do you think?
Did you mean to use "chop this up" as the idiom there? After she chopped her fingers off?
It was chalk this up. But thank you. Thank you, Nick. If you ever catch me doing that, just kick me off.
Yeah, you out. I mean, I had the same reaction as Hurley. I was like, oh, hey, characters acknowledged it too. It's kind of like a plot hole, and they're kind of aware of it. But I think, maybe the film's justification is like the possessions that happen.
Yeah.
Strange thing is, none of the other possessions until none of the other possessions are lifted off the ground. They're all just like human control stuff. So that's what I had my mind about. Is there's nothing that says that she could have levitated, which is pretty. Now, what's interesting to me is the cover of this movie shows the mother above the house. That never happens, though.
It does in a way. They're just not as high. Remember when the sun looks out the window and she starts floating up in the air? That's kind of what it's alluding to, that moment.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I'm gonna jump in really quickly with the mom. So they do mention it later, and it's because the coroner says the only way she could have gotten up there was with the tub, but the tub was there, like on the corner and used by Louise. So how could she have done it? Yeah. Stuff like that. But we've also seen throughout the movie, like later on in the movie, the devil could move stuff.
Right.
So I think, and it's something we're going to discuss, the devil never made, the people did it to themselves. It was never the devil killing them.
Right.
Per se.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was something that it was placed there for her. She did it. It's moved back.
Good assumption.
That's kind of what I took from it, because we could see it in later deaths later on.
Do you think it would have been? Do you think it would have been really creepy if you saw it all happen? I'm picture like Paranormal Activity, in the sense where like bodies are being possessed and like hung. If you like, the camera angle where when they discover that body, imagine that camera angle, except you see the wife stumble in or walk in, tie, see her drop down, or see her climb the bathtub, hang herself, and then see the bathtub like shift. Do you think that would have ruined it, or do you think it would have been a different spin?
Yeah. I'm an advocate for I didn't want to see all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm an advocate for less exposition in the actions of things. The end result is that she hung herself. Hung herself by her own volition. Who can say? Really? But yeah, I didn't need to see that. I'm glad.
I agree.
I don't know.
I agree, because also like we see later on what is causing these people, and I think for the first big death in the movie, if we would have saw that too much, then we wouldn't have had a mystery of what would come later on.
Yeah, right.
What did you think, Hurley?
I think if they would have added it in, I don't think I would have cared for it. Just like I just don't know how they would have shot it either, because she has just chopped off her fingers, so she has maybe one usable hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying to hang yourself with one usable hand, I just don't think that would be very easy to shoot. I like the way they did it. I think it's better left out.
Yeah.
Because they do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
They do.
A little bit. Even with an explanation of the devil was, helping out.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit of, and I think at that point you could say it was warranted. Like, I could look past this right now, but
Yeah.
So as time goes on, Louise and Michael start to understand what happened to their mother. The nurse confides in them that she heard her whispering to the father, but it seemed as if she was speaking not to him, but some other presence. Michael finds their mother's diary, which describes her fears of an unnamed presence trying to take the soul of her husband. So, we have a lot of information there.
Yeah.
So we find out mom, she was going crazy. It wasn't just because the kids came home that one day. She was starting to get a little bit. We don't know why. Well, we kind of do know why, but it hasn't been fully revealed yet why.
Yeah.
And what did you guys think about it? About finding the mother's diary too, and what she was writing in it.
What my mind was going to is I think the whole introduction of the diary is pretty cool. Like, oh, you're seeing her suffer through her words. And it's I don't know, it's not used very often. It's kind of those like real life aspects that would happen that really they aren't utilized in movies a lot, especially not scary movies, but it really brought like a different kind of horror to it for me.
Mm-hmm. What did you think, Hurley?
I think the diary was fantastic addition. Like it just adds another like level to like the creepiness or like wickedness that's just like going on throughout the movie. And like, I mean, there was like I had a jump scare. Like I think it was like right before he found
the shower.
The shower. I completely jumped. Not gonna lie, I completely jumped. And then it was like right after that he found it, and then like they're sitting on the porch and they start reading it, and it's like creepy, and it just adds that another step up to keep you hooked, and I thought it was fantastic.
I do want to quickly jump in with the shower jump scare. So I watched this movie with people. I don't want to say who because I don't want them to feel embarrassed when I say this. So during that jump scare, one of the people we were watching it absolutely freaked out, like jumped up so high in the air. And the person said right after that, and I quote, I literally quoted it in my phone because it was so funny. They said, "I need a napkin or something. That was too intense."
Oh no.
That jump scare.
Oh wow.
Like was so, because the cliche would be she looks out, there's nothing there, she closes it, it's behind her in the shower, or she hears it again, opens it again, and then you see it. Not just boom, boom, it's already there.
Yeah. And it's him. Like you're thinking it's gonna be the mom, but it's not. It's him, and that's when it's like, holy shit. Here's a question. I got a question for you guys. So there's a few of these moments where it's scary, and then they disappear, and they see something scary, and then it disappears. Do you think they were visions?
No.
Okay. You shake your head no, but at the end, the brother goes back to the house and is forced to see what he thinks is his wife and kids dead in their kitchen. And then he kills himself out of heartbreak and despair instantly. But then you see, and that vision disappears. So I don't know. What do you guys thoughts?
So I'll jump in really quick because I think this is now talking about what our main antagonist is and kind of how he feeds and stuff like that. So it's a demon. We could all say it's a demon. But I think what this demon does is it gets you to your breaking point. And as soon as you hit it, that's when it strikes. We see it with the mom. She hit her breaking point with the carrot. As soon as she chopped the one finger, that's when she started going crazy. Boom. It gets her. Charlie, who is the neighbor, I always said whenever Charlie was on the screen, I was like, look at Charlie. He's just vibing. But, he was chilling. It got him to his breaking point with Louise. He's seeing Louise like cut herself and stuff like that. And then starts whispering in his ear stuff. And you could tell like he's breaking down. And then, boom, kills himself. Done. Now the brother, we see with him, he really doesn't care that much about the sister. And that never really changes throughout the movie. Because he leaves her. He says, no, like my number one priority was my mother. Now my priority is my children and my wife.
Yeah. So
for him going home and seeing that his children and his wife are dead, that was his breaking point. Boom, he's dead. So I think it was the devil always, whether it was Vision or him himself at play, doing all of that stuff to try to get them to that breaking point where it could pounce and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in that instance with the children, that was a vision that the devil was showing him. With the father, I think that was the devil himself.
Oh,
Interesting.
okay.
So that would be my take of that. And I know I just gave up a lot of stuff right there. We'll talk about it more as we go along. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what Bill and Hurley, what you guys think.
I agree. I can agree with that. Yeah, I thought you were gonna launch into some metaphor, how it's like, oh, it's like really depression or something, but it's like, you know, but like, I'm glad you didn't go there. Because I thought it was more than that. I just think, yeah, it's sort of interesting because I'm always expecting that the supernatural entity is somehow going to get explained, or somehow going to get like, oh, it was really this the entire time. And like, well, I'm sure we'll get into it as we talk like more about the end of the movie, but like it's never really stated what it wants. What does it really want? I guess what does any demon in any kind of like haunting want? And I guess it's the people, right? It wants to break them down.
Souls.
Yeah, the souls of the people. Yeah, really breaking them. Interesting. Yeah, you give me a lot to think about with that, though. All right, I just want to.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is really nice. I didn't think about that breaking point aspect, and it makes a lot of sense.
Hurley, what'd you think?
I think your explanation is pretty spot on. Like that shower scene. Like, yeah, I totally believe that was the demon. And then just like he's feeding the visions to them to just get them past the point where there's no return and they want to just end their life. It was, the unknown was pretty crazy. I was on the edge of my seat the whole movie, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I like how we talk about this, and it is so dark. Like, it is such a dark movie. It's not for the faint of heart. It deals with a lot of different subjects, and the fact that not basically, every death is someone killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Besides one. But
yeah, notable.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I think it really lives up to the title of the movie, Dark and Wicked. It really lives up to it.
Yeah,
definitely,
absolutely. I think that scene in the priest's living room of the vision of the girl stabbing herself over and over and over again. That's when I realized, oh yeah, this movie is twisted. But it's not.
Don't play.
Oh, sorry, but what?
No, I was gonna say, yeah, it really didn't feel the need to pull any punches.
Yeah,
to its credit.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't too twisted. It's not like a Jeepers Creepers kind of twisted, or a Hostile kind of twisted. It's just paranormally twisted enough.
Mm-hmm. With very good gore effects.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we've reached the point in the plot overview where it talks about Michael, the brother, when he dies, and it skips basically a lot of stuff in between that. So I think first I want to talk about what I think is the best scene. Well, my favorite scene or second favorite scene in the movie, which is when they're talking to the priest. How he comes over and says, oh, like your mom started to see me. When your father started getting sick, I was the only one there for her. And all this stuff. And they were like, she was never really religious. And they could tell there's something off with all of this. Because before that, we saw how she has all these crosses in her pocket. And they're like, oh, that's weird. She's not religious. Yeah, and then the priest is there and has the cross. And they're like, oh, it's you. She was never religious. And it leads to one of my favorite quotes in the movie that the priest says when they're asking him about, like, do you believe in, like, demons and stuff like that? And he says, "You don't need to believe in the wolf for it to find you in the middle of the woods."
Yeah. Yeah. Which is so effectively dark and also so transparent to religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, in a hopeful sense, sometimes, yeah, it does come to you. But in a dark sense, sometimes it finds you. Like sometimes it's hunting for you, for your soul, and that's what the devil was doing in this movie.
Ogle, philosopher king. I'm
Hey.
impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Hurley, what'd you think about this scene and all the wolf metaphors that he was pulling?
As soon as the priest was introduced, I knew like this dude was like something's just so off with him, and like the metaphor was really good. Yeah, the priest, like I said before, just like added like another level of creepiness into it. It's like I didn't know what to think of him, and just like the more we saw of him, I was like, this dude's not what he should be.
Mm-hmm. And we find out that he is not who he should be because it was the devil the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
As revealed by two different scenes.
Yeah.
When during the middle of the night, when he's outside, and he's like, "Come outside." And they're like, "Hey, yo, it's 3 a.m. What you doing here?" But
like who's gonna go outside and chase after him? Like, come on.
Yeah. Where's that logic? Like, 3 a.m. Some priest just knocks on my door, tells me to come outside. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. He's chill.
Mm-hmm. And during that time, the phone's ringing, and Michael's screaming, "Don't answer the phone!" Because as we've been seeing, the mom has been calling the phone. And, "I told you shouldn't have come." Now all creepy, and she ends up disconnecting the phone, which we find out it wasn't the devil; it was Charlie.
Yeah.
He was calling them because he needed help, and they weren't there for him, which leads to the whole everyone wasn't there for each other. Everyone was alone. And he starts seeing visions of Louise cut herself. And I will say he was the smartest because he had the blicky with him. You know, he was ready.
The gun.
Yeah, he had the shotty. He was like, "Nah, I ain't messing with the demons."
I hear it call the blicky one more time. No, it's all right. No, it's true. No, what's the gun gonna do against? Yeah,
but he doesn't know what it is. You know, he's like, "Oh, someone's in my house." And then turns out it's Louise, and that was a really creepy scene when you could hear like the knife just go ching, ching, cut through her, as she's like taunting him and stuff, like, and she whispers in his ear, and he kills himself, and they show more than I expected. You know, I didn't expect them to show after the gunshot a little bit.
Yeah, usually it's like the blackout is the gunshot, but no, they show like almost like a zombie movie shot.
Yeah, they show a splatter.
Yeah, which if we're being real, a shotgun in your mouth would literally explode your head.
Yeah,
but it's okay. Suspension of disbelief for a movie.
Yeah. We got a little squirt of blood, so we were good.
We got no squirt. It's only the like a little water gun outside of the back of your head. That's what a shotgun does.
That's what they filmed. They had like a little war gun behind. Like,
Perfect.
Oh man. Yeah, so we see that, and then the next day she calls the priest from the number, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know who you are. Who are you? I'm from Chicago." And then he says weirdly, he's like, "Oh, you sound like my daughter. She killed herself." And it was like, whoa. Yeah. Which makes you think, was that also the devil the whole time? He was playing a lot. I'm of the belief that as soon as they got here, that was it. He was playing with them the whole time.
point.
So I'm trying to think what is after that, because it doesn't go into detail about after that. I know the goats happen.
I think the goats.
Yeah, but
I think the goats, was that right after the priest had visited? Or was
No, it's the doctor visits because they're like, okay, we need to get our father out of here. And the doctor is like, no, he won't make it to the highway.
Because that was before. Was that before Charlie killed himself or after?
That was.
It might have been. It was after, I think.
It was after, but they didn't know about it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I know is every scene in the goat barn, I was ready for something to happen. Like it was like the creepiness of that goat barn is just.
Oh, and like the wind chime with the bottles and stuff like that. You always knew something was coming as soon as you started to hear that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I saw a tweet about this, and it said, like, it was something. The question that started the thread was, "What's the scariest sound in horror movie?" And somebody said the chiming of the bottles in The Dark and the Wicked really freak her out, because it's like a metal on glass sound that, like you said, always led to something bad.
And I was gonna say, they never showed it be good.
Yeah,
there's never like, oh, it's just Charlie vibing. Like, no, it was always it was the wind, it was the demon, it was the mom later on. Like, but we had the goats, and the goats got massacred. Like, and we see it by like one of the goats with only 3 legs left, just running over to Michael.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching, I was like, oh, like, I was like, he's missing a leg.
Yeah.
And it was so out there, because, like, you don't, that was not a shot I was going to expect to see in this movie. And even, like, you see Michael, like, oh my God, you're missing a leg. To where Louise and Michael go out, and then it's just goat massacre.
Most of them, yeah. All but 5 of them are dead.
Yeah.
And they're all killed at like the same way, and they kind of show off that like they couldn't have just, hunters wouldn't do this, and they wouldn't. What do they say?
Wolves wouldn't kill like this.
Wolves wouldn't kill like this. Yeah. That's really good imagery. Like, that's the stuff that should have been in The Witch. Like, if they're gonna try going back to if they're gonna document, like, if they're gonna do so much symbolism with the goat being the devil, why not have such a horrific scene like The Dark and the Wicked does, where there's just a lot of dead? They're all around her circle. Like, yeah. Anyway, I think that was really well done by The Dark and the Wicked. Really, that shot they show that from the sky.
Yeah.
All the goats. That is some shot, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then to go from that to them making a bonfire of the burning all of the dead goats.
Oh my God. He tosses the goat into the fire. It's like,
bro, I remember I was like, damn, he chucked that. But he full on like went for it. He Clayton Kershaw'd it like.
Oh man,
violent like. Oh man, but yeah, well, Hurley, what'd you think? Did you expect there to be a bonfire of goats after just being a massacre of goats?
I didn't. I didn't know how they would react to it, but I certainly didn't think they were just going to make a massive bonfire and throw them all in there. Yeah, I thought it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's when that was okay, we're hitting our stride now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's when now they're pretty low, both of them. And they're still not really talking to each other. I mean, the brother opens up and says, oh yeah, I saw mom. Like, she was outside, like over there, and she was floating. And they kind of open up a little bit, but then the events of what happens in the barn basically end that connection. So Nick, why don't you tell us about what happens in the barn? Michael.
Wait, hold on. Which time?
The time with the mom. When she comes walking in.
Oh, when she's singing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Why can't I remember this? I remember the shot of him hearing her. Oh, I remember. Oh, yes. Okay. Gotcha. So he's in the barn and whatever, checking out the noises, checking on the goats. And then he sees her. There's this shot in the barn in that scene where it's him looking out into the entrance to the barn, and you can see the shadow behind him grow. Another one of those background scares that wasn't.
Oh, that was Louise.
Oh, that was Louise. That was.
Yeah.
There's so many scenes in the barn, you know.
I think there was a shadow behind him.
There was a shadow behind him, but at that point it was still like, oh, that's his shadow. Or is it not his shadow? You know, one of those. But at least with Louise, that's what.
Oh, okay.
But no, with Michael, you know, he's in there, he's looking.
So he goes to. Yeah, this is the first time where he almost kills himself because he's almost at his breaking point, I guess, based on your theory. Because right beforehand, he's in the shed or the barn, and then he hears his mom, and she's singing, and she comes out. She's naked.
Bloodied up.
Yeah, there's something about old naked ladies that just pop up in horror movies here and there, and it started with The Shining, and now everyone's like, let's throw a naked old lady in there. That will be fun.
The Visit. The Visit.
Yes, The Visit's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you spent an entire movie. Oh,
I love The Visit.
Oh,
that's fun.
That's a
You
fun.
should review that someday.
So yeah, and so whatever. So it's a vision of him or her. Or it's the devil. It's the devil, and the devil goes up to him and throws him to the ground.
Oh yeah.
She
from
throws
the
him
back
into the wall, doesn't she?
throws in the wall, and then she disappears. He thinks she's gone, and then he gets thrown onto the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has the knife, and that's when he gets really, really close to killing himself. Which I think his acting is really well there, because you really believe he's got the knife up to his neck, and he is so close to doing it. And it's the only successful time of the entire movie that someone actually fights off being killed. So is he the strongest character?
It's because he didn't reach his breaking point at that time.
Yeah,
I think that's what protected him.
Well, so would you guys think he was the strongest willed character of the movie?
No, I would say Louise is, because I think for him, he was like, oh yeah, let's get back to work. Oh, like, I don't want to talk about this. And then when he starts to kind of like accept it, he's like, okay, this is happening, but I don't want it to. So I'm not going to really acknowledge it or talk about it. I'm not going to talk about my feelings about this. I'm just going to do my job and get it done with. And then he got rolled up on in the barn, but he still never reached that breaking point yet, because as we saw earlier on, he would talk to Becky and he would be open to her, which was his wife. So that's why when he saw the vision of, his kids and his wife dead, that was his breaking point. And then it was easy. He just, boom, did it.
Yeah.
So I think the devil might have mistimed his attacking a little bit there and was like, oh, shoot. He's not ready yet.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
He was like, damn. He was like, I'll get him tomorrow. Yeah, whatever.
I'll get him tomorrow. I'll get him on the next run.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't 4-0 it. He didn't 4-0 that series. It was like they at least got one dub.
What do you guys think of the scare tactics in general of this movie? Like scare tactics for the audience.
I liked them. I think it's, for me, my favorite type of horror movie is a psychological movie.
Yeah.
So I'm very into the type of like the stuff you see, the stuff you don't see.
Yeah.
So for me, this was right up my alley, like seeing stuff in the background of shots moving up and then gone. Stuff like that. Sometimes your eyes playing tricks on you. Like, I know there were scenes I was like, oh, what is that? I was like, there's something back there. I was like, oh, wait, that's just a cup. like stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
And so I like that being on edge. And that's what I was hoping The Invisible Man would be more like, but
Yeah.
Ooh.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think the scare tactics were pretty intelligent.
Yeah.
I wouldn't quite say to the level of like I'd say my gold standards for like scare tactics is like Ari Aster. Like as much as I do not want to see Hereditary again this lifetime ever. Do not ask Brian. It will not happen, okay?
Don't worry, I don't want. I don't like the ending of it. I don't want to watch it again.
Oh, interesting. We should talk about that sometime. But not the whole movie, just the ending. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw Midsummer, but
Not yet.
very, very similar. Where like it's like the little things that matter. Nothing's worse than when it's too obvious. I know we talked about this a bit last week with just like directors trusting their audience, and I think enough care was given to that concept here.
Yeah. Holly, what about you?
I think like just like the way the movie's shot, like the angles, the use of sounds in certain places just makes it scary. Like the movie's, if you like think about it as a whole, it's like not like a typical like scary movie, but just like the way they shoot it, like the shadows and the sounds is it is scary.
Yeah. I agree. What kind of stuck out to me is the subverting of expectations. I don't know. Here's some things that I kind of picked up on that I probably wouldn't have thought about had I not seen this movie. First of all, lights off. That's the trope. That's when lights are off, things are bad. There's a whole movie called Lights Out that uses just this trope. On this, it was lights on. There's that entire scene where the lights turn on. And I was like, that's creative. Because it's always the lights go out. It's never the lights turn on.
Yeah.
And then there was other examples too. For example, doors being closed but not slammed. In paranormal movies, doors get slammed. But these don't get really slammed shut. They get closed, just closed or opened. And it was like small, but like still effective. Like less was more at that point. And then another thing was there's that scene where the spider crawls out of the dad's mouth. When for me, when you that any camera that pans in on someone who's unconscious, what you think is going to happen is they're going to wake up. Something's going to happen where they wake up, which happens at the end. Which I think is cheap, but at this moment, a spider crawls out of his mouth, and you do not expect that. There's no indication that that something's going to crawl out of his mouth. There's nothing that prepares you for that. And so I think, I think those are some examples of like, it's doing less, and it's doing less really, really well.
I agree. I definitely agree. It definitely is a less is more movie. And it's effective in doing that. I mean, because like you said, we know the cliched things. I was just happy we didn't get like a bathroom mirror shot where, we look in the mirror, nothing's there. We're going to close it. It's ready. Like, stuff like that. I was happy we had none of that. And if it was something that could be seen as cliched, they did their own twist on it. So, they tried to make it fresh.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So now we finally reached a point where I could read some of the plot overview. which is that, you know, the presence makes itself known to the siblings in increasing, terrifying, and deadly ways. Seeing, you know, Charlie die, stuff like that. Seeing the nurse, which we'll probably talk about. And it ultimately pushes Michael to suicide after he flees the house without Louise. Yep, he kills himself. He sees his family on the floor. He's like, all right, I'm dead. Kills himself, and then, they're not actually dead. That was a vision. And of course, I was like, oh my God, they're going to walk in.
Oh, yeah, that's heartbreaking.
And you're like, oh my God. I'm just really happy they didn't do the thing where, like, the kids see it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That would have been terrible.
But it was really funny because, like, the people I was seeing it with, I was like, oh, there's no way they're going to show dead.
Yeah.
And then we just see dead kids. I was like, oh, they did it.
Yeah. Yep.
But then they actually weren't dead kids. They were
They weren't
chilling.
dead kids. Yeah. They were, yeah. Yeah.
True.
And I think that right there, I honestly, hot take, I feel like that should have been the last scene. Have the mom of the sister die at home by the dad waking up or whatever and killing her because it's the devil, whatever. I have that be the second last scene and then have him walk in. I think that would have been more scary and less cheap.
I don't know if I agree. I think Louise is the stronger character and, like, the person we've been following the whole time. And then for us to see her die first, like, of course that could be a subversion of expectation. But then just being left with the brother, like, knowing, oh yeah, he's not making it. If Louise died, he's not making it. So, like, we already know his fate. At least at that point when he's gotten home, we don't know what to expect yet. We don't know if he's escaped it, what he's done, because we see some wild things are going on at the house at this point.
Yeah.
We see
that's true.
Charlie's granddaughter, you know, come up and say, like, yeah, Charlie's dead. My grandpa's dead.
Ugh.
And then she's like, what? I saw him 2 days ago. She's like, no, like, police were
No,
there.
he did.
Nah, he's dead. And she was like, she hears coughing and she's like, oh, like, I have to go help my father. You want to come in? And then she just goes, do you smell him?
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh yeah,
bro. I was like, nah. I was like,
Nah.
no, I was like, punch her. I don't care. Punch this girl actress right now.
oh yeah.
So effective. Like, that moment.
Really good acting in that single line.
Yeah. And then, like, the smile as she's like,
the smile. Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you can smell it. And I was like, oh my God. And then she's just gone. And then she appears behind her. And then, like, she like keeps on just, like, following her as, like, the poor girl's just trying to crawl away. Like, effective scare, which then leads to another effective scare with the nurse. And I loved the shot of her sewing and then just zooming in, like, to her face and then just seeing her stop and then just start to smile a little bit. You're like, oh, she's gone. She's gone, yeah. And she's, like, stabbing herself with these sewing needles. Oh my God. She
in the eye.
Yeah. That image of her after she stabbed both of the eyes and then, like, you see, like, the blood everywhere and she's smiling. She's like, Jesus, I could feel you with me. Jesus, I could feel you. And then just gone.
Yeah. That's some powerful cinematography in that moment. And makeup work and acting.
Yeah, that's my second favorite moment right there. Like, that entire sequence of Charlie's granddaughter and the nurse.
Yeah.
But we've reached the ending. So I can tell there's going to be stuff that we're going to talk about here. Which is so he ends up dying and he is possessed by the presence, which attacks Louise.
Finally. Yeah.
So I'm going to say why I like the ending.
Okay.
As it is. So I think something that I saw people complain about a lot is why didn't the dad die? Why didn't the devil just get him because he was the weakest? And I've seen a lot of people say like that's a flaw of the film, and I could get that, but how I see it, by having the father in his state, it brought down the mom. The kids started coming. Charlie started going down. It could feed off other people while it could just wait for the father to reach his demise so it could possess him. And by the end,
the father was bait.
Yeah, the father was bait the entire time, basically. And by the ending, we know Louise is going to be at her breaking point as soon as the father dies. That's when she's done. So,
yeah,
end it with her by her father just saying, I love you, there for you, as he's like, you could tell he's dead. Like, he's dying. You could hear him cough. He's starting to gasp a little bit. Then he's done. And then you hear Michael outside, like, come outside, like, help me. And then it just shoots to her. And then you just see the father's eyes are wide open. And then it shoots back to the door. And then it shoots back to where her and the father are. It shoots back to the door. Then goes to her. And then she's attacked and killed. So I like it in the sense of that logic of it waited the entire time for when everyone was at its weakest. Because the thing is, how else would it end? Louise, there's no way she would make it out alive. That's not gonna happen. For her, we always knew her breaking point was with the father.
Yeah,
he's dead. It attacks her. That's it.
Like the most like tropes you see a lot like in movies like this, or either there's one survivor or nobody gets out. And I think if I was to choose to have a survivor or not, Louise is definitely the most worthy, right? She's definitely the most worthy. If somebody's gonna survive, it should be Louise. I don't know. I think I would have enjoyed an alternate with Louise getting out. I don't know. I don't know. It worked. It worked for me. Like, it worked. Like, it. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on it, though. Hurley and Nick, I guess, specifically. Yeah,
Hurley, what you think?
I thought, like you mentioned, like no survivors or one survivor. As it progressed, like I kind of got the sense that there was gonna be no survivor, but to the ending, it kind of took me by surprise. But I think I liked it. It just like he just attacks her, and it's like, whoa! Like I didn't think I was expecting that, but it just happened, and I was like, yeah, okay. I think it was okay.
And in a way, she accepted her fate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys make a good point. I think after listening to what you guys had to say, I do think differently about the ending a little bit. I think it's weird that it comes from the dad, but definitely more emotional. It's definitely more emotional than I originally perceived it as, with her giving up, saying, I love you. I mean, I knew she was going to die after that, but I took it as he was going to die, and that's why she's saying, I love you, but no, it's her giving up, kind of realizing it's her time, and therefore he's going to die, but he's not going to die alone.
And we can see that when she's outside, she's going to run and try to escape, but then she hears him cough, and that's when she has the realization, like,
I'm not going to leave you.
I'm not going to leave you.
No.
So I think a good way to kind of end this before we kind of say like what our final thoughts and like our scores, like what we give it, is the nurse says, a soul that is loved is protected. And I think during that we saw really no one was loved. They were all estranged from each other and they never were there for each other. And that's why that family was attacked by the demon.
Yeah.
So that kind of, I think that explains why they were attacked. Well, also why they were dying, like why they couldn't fight it off.
That's interesting. It is just kind of like Christianity message, isn't it? A Christian message of respect your elders.
Yeah, and to, always be loving and always be there for each other, stuff like that. Which they never were, and they died because of it. So, all right, we're gonna start with you, Bill. Final thoughts and what you would give the movie.
Final thoughts on this film. I would say that as much as this is a study of the paranormal and supernatural, it also goes to show how families that is estranged from one another. It's damaging on more than one almost like pain. It's a little hard to put into words, but obviously, like, the larger message of this film is that you have to accept, in one way or another, like, your relationships with your family. And I always hate, like, the trope of, like, oh, this isn't a horror movie. It's a family movie. It's not a family movie. This is not a family movie. Not watch this with, like, people under 13, 14, I don't know, something like that. I forget when I first started watching, but I would say, yeah, well shot, well directed, way better than Strangers. I feel bad that Bertino is only known for Strangers, and that Strangers was so long ago, 2008. Yes, and it's just like, this is the stuff that people should be talking about. But final score, I am comfortable giving it a solid 8.5. I feel pretty good about that. I've been rating highly recently. This is my edge.
I think we've been just watching really good movies.
Yeah, we really, yeah.
Yeah, what about you, Harley?
What are you?
First, I'll just start off with my score because I thought it was fantastic. I'll give it a 9 out of 10, just because the unknown. There could be better. There could be, but. And I haven't seen a horror movie in a while, but I thought it was fantastic. I thought the shots and just everything, they made it so much more scarier without like having scary. It doesn't make sense, but
yeah, no, it's good though. It's good though. No, I agree with you.
My movie analysis isn't as on par as yours, but yeah, like I thought the shots and the way they used like shadows and the sounds is really good, and I'd definitely recommend it. I watched it by myself. Luckily, I watched it midday, so I wasn't too as scared. But
I watched it at night.
We got a badass. Good job, Ryan. Good job,
Ryan. Nick, do you want to go?
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm gonna say, Bill. You said 8.5. I'm gonna say an 8.4. I don't know. I don't know. I'm being asked just for saying.
I'd like to I'll addendum my score. I'll give it an 8.2.
8.28.
Oh, it's 8.39.
Oh, 8.3.
Sorry, I messed it up. All right, continue. I'm interrupting.
Yeah, I think The Dark and the Wicked is a movie that's exactly what it says it's going to be in the title. Not for the faint of heart, and I think suffers from the fact that it came out during 2020, during the time of the pandemic, when it couldn't get to theaters. So it was just released into streaming platforms, and I think had it gotten to theaters, we would have been talking a lot more about the director instead. And I feel, that has not a fault of its own. And so I don't I wouldn't dock points for it, but I think it deserves to be watched because it's definitely a take on the paranormal subgenre that needs to be learned from.
Yeah. And I just want to say, if we saw this movie in theaters, the atmosphere would be so fantastic. Like that surround sound of like the wolf howling,
Oh yeah.
All of that. Oh my god. It would have been a completely different effect. But
Yeah.
what would I give this and my final thoughts? So I think I agree with Hurley that I'd give it a 9. I think for me, I enjoyed it as much as, which is that also gave that a 9. So that was kind of okay. This should be in that range.
As much as what?
Oculus.
Okay.
Interesting.
Very good movie. If you guys haven't seen it, very good. It's made by Mike Flanagan, who directed Hush. Everyone knows that. Oculus, fantastic movie. Also deals with some paranormal stuff. Great movie. But so I think for me, my biggest con would be that how slow it burns. The pacing isn't always the best that it could be. And I think we see that in certain days with it being super fast and then super slow. You know, you have to watch them loading some hay into a truck, stuff like that. Like sometimes it got a little bit too slow. I think that would be the biggest issue that I would have with this movie. And I think you can say that the end is a little bit disappointing. You could come up with why, like I have reasons why I really ending, but I could say that I think it is seen as a disappointing ending. Kind of like a Hereditary, where that's a disappointing ending, but it's you had such a good build up the entire movie. Where do you end it? You know, will it ever be fulfilling? You know,
Sure.
So I think that would be my 2 cons that I would have with this movie that would give it that 9 score. But I really enjoyed this movie. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it that much. I thought it was going to be a lot more cliched than what we got. And what an interesting take on the paranormal.
Above all else, yeah.
So Hurley, we have one final question for you. And we'd like to ask this to all of our guests on the podcast, but what is a goal that you have for yourself?
I should have been prepared for this because I've listened to the past few of your episodes and I wasn't even prepared for this.
Like I say every time, we stumped them.
So, like as a goal for this year,
it could be whatever. If it's too personal, of course, you don't have to say it, but it could be anything. It could be numbers. It could be something about yourself. Anything.
To be honest, I just want to continue to grow my community. I'm not doing it. Some people try to start streaming, start YouTube to make money. That's completely the wrong idea. If that's what you're doing it for, I'm 100% sure you guys are doing this podcast not to make money because you like it. Same reason I'm streaming on Twitch. Same reason I'm doing YouTube. I like it. I just want to continue to grow my community. I don't care too much for the numbers. Yeah, it's great to see growth. If I don't ever get to be as big as Pie Face, it won't hurt my feelings. But yeah, I want to continue to just grow and affect more people. Like through this pandemic, a lot of people can't go outside, so they connect through a lot of other people who have similar interests, like on Twitch, YouTube. So it's been amazing to see people come through my chat, comment on my YouTube channel, and just kind of interact with them. And yeah, just hopefully affect more people in the next few years. We'll see where life takes me, and maybe it'll turn to a full time, but I don't expect it to. It's more of a hobby, but yeah.
So why don't you tell the people, this is your full-on plug everything that you possibly can. Let the people know where they could talk to you, where they could interact with you, join the community.
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Hurley_games. Same as Twitch, Hurley_games. My YouTube channel, there's a link on my Twitter. I have over 100 subs. I've had my channel for more than 30 days. I have a custom icon and banner. So I'm technically eligible for a custom URL. They just have not offered that to me yet, but hopefully soon. Then you can find me at Hurley. I mean, you can search Hurley_games on YouTube. I just don't have the custom URL yet. Hopefully soon.
Nice.
Hopefully soon for the flash forward reviews as well.
Exactly.
Hey.
Yo, look at that shout out right. Hey,
Yeah.
plugging everyone. All the love all around.
Hurley, best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a great time. Would love to come back in the future if you guys would.
Oh, 100%.
Love to have you.
For sure.
100%. We'll definitely.
I do love movies, so.
We'll find one for you that we'll get you to watch.
Love it.
You know, boys, we should make him watch like a Bye Bye Man or something like that.
Wait, unfriended.
Oh no!
I hate that.
I kind of like the aspect that no one had seen this movie before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
I think that puts a different like twist into the pod, rather than like one or two people have seen it and maybe seen it multiple times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, guys, I haven't seen Human Centipede. Have you guys? I don't know.
I have not either.
I'm sorry, boys, to tell you this, but I have seen the first one.
Oh, wow.
How many times? Just once?
Can
Just
you
once.
watch it more than once? Because
Honestly, like
you watch
when
it more than once?
it's not as grotesque as you think it is going to be.
I hear the second one's worse.
The second, I haven't watched it, but
Okay.
I could guess when they said the centipede is made using staples and tape that it is going to be a lot worse.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
The Human Centipede. What a film. But all right. So thank you, Hurley, for being here. We loved having you on discussing this movie with you. It was a lot of fun.
Appreciate it.
I hope you had fun as well.
Oh, I did. It was a lot of fun, and I got to see a movie that I probably wouldn't have ever watched.
Hey, there we go.
And it was a fantastic movie, so I'm glad I got to watch it.
See, I think this is why I love horror, because there's so many different types, there's so many different emotions that could be portrayed by it, so many real life scenarios, that it's always been something that's just attracted to me. So, and I like showing that to different people and getting their takes on stuff like that. So next time we're definitely going to do a cheesy slasher that means nothing.
With that said.
Love it.
Oh man, but yeah, like I said, thank you, Hurley. You could check him out at Hurley_games on Twitter. I think on YouTube it's the same exact thing, or it's very close. On Twitch, check him out, Hurley_games. We watch Pokemon on there. We're watching Pokemon X and Y right now. We're on season 18, which is the second season of the XY saga, and we are close to Ash battling the 4th gym leader. So
just make sure you don't put anything stupid in the chat, or my mod Ryan will give you the little ban hammer.
That's true. Or don't talk bad about Tina.
You gotta respect Tina.
Exactly. Well, we have someone who's pretty saucy to Tina on there, who gets timed out very often.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. It's really funny. Before we end this, one little last story before we end. I remember Tina was saying about how she tore her ACL, and he just wrote, "No one cares, LOL," in the chat.
Holy shit.
And then the rest of the night, anything he said, she would just write, "No one cares," and stuff like that. But it was really funny because he was like, Hurley, I have a pack for you to open if you want. And Hurley was like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'll log on your account, do it. And Tina just writes, no one cares, LOL. I was like, it seems like they cared about this one, but you know, you'll get them next time. It was a mission failed. We'll get them next time. Yeah, so fun fact, Tina does not like him.
Needless to say.
Exactly. But on that note, thank you everyone for watching this podcast. And thank you again to Hurley for being here. We are 100% back on talking about more horror. The next podcast we will be releasing will be about WandaVision. So we're going to be talking about WandaVision. We're going to be talking about horror elements that are within WandaVision. And we're going to be talking about where it goes from there, including the new Doctor Strange movie, which is said to be a horror movie.
What?
Yep. Dead serious.
Oh.
The next Doctor Strange is a horror movie. You can look at this. I don't know if this is true. You'd have to quote me. I think Mike Flanagan might be directing it.
Sam Raimi's directing it.
Who is it?
Sam Raimi.
It's Sam Raimi. No, okay, it was Sam Raimi that's directing
thank you, Skippy.
It is a horror
Skippy.
movie.
Sam Raimi?
Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it is a horror movie.
Crazy.
And it's said to be rated R. So we'll see.
I was gonna say, I remembered it was a seasoned horror director, and I automatically was thinking, Mike.
Wow.
It's Sam Raimi, who, if you didn't know, directed the original The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And he also did the original Spider-Man trilogy. So
yeah,
with
something else.
Yeah, with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that podcast, which will be coming out on Saturday. But remember, don't talk to strangers. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
You guys.